Welcome to News Laundry Chota Hafta. For the full episode, subscribe because it is behind the paywall and only subscribers get access to uncut, complete content. News Laundry Hafta is our weekly wrap of all that made the news, all that didn't, and all that should have and all that shouldn't have. We agree, we disagree, we critique, and occasionally we beat each other up. But it's all good fun. Subscribe.
This is a News Laundry podcast and you're listening to NL Hafta.
अंग्रेज अपना लगान और न्यूज़ लॉन्ड्री अपना हफ्ता कभी नहीं छोड़ते. We are recording the hafta today on the 25th of March, Thursday at 3:30 p.m. in the afternoon from Delhi. In the studio with me is Raman Kripal.
Hi.
Mehraj Lone.
Hello.
Jayashree joins us on the phone from Chennai.
Hi.
And Manisha is, as you may have seen if you've been following our coverage, traveling in Bengal with Meghnad and Parikshit. Ayan is in Assam. Nidhi and Aditya are in Tamil Nadu.
No, in Kerala.
In Kerala, sorry. And in Tamil
And
Nadu,
we have in Tamil Nadu three, four reporters.
we have 3 or 4 reporters who we have engaged for the duration of the election to report. So lots happening on News Laundry on election coverage, and this is only possible because so many of you have contributed to the NL Sena project. This, covering the election across 4 states and 1 union territory. It costs us a reasonable amount of money. In fact, right now as we speak, Manisha, Meghnad and Parikshit are driving through Bengal.
Someone has given us the car.
And in fact, it is a subscriber who has made that car available. So thank you so much. We will take your permission before we name you in case you don't want to be named. But it is because of subscribers like you. So many of you have offered and contributed in various ways. And that is the future of news, when it's a collaborative effort between those who consume the news and those who bring it to you, keeping the sarkari ads and the private sector ads out of it. This, in my view, and in our view, is the future of journalism. And thank you for making it happen. Thank you, those of you who have contributed, and those who have not, do consider contributing to our NL Sena project. And we are also just, I think, 3.5 lakh rupees short of our NL Sena project for our app development. So do contribute to that too. That was a long monologue in the beginning. And also in this podcast, Manisha isn't with me, but I'll be recording a separate 20-25 minute chunk with her about what it's like covering the election on the ground in Bengal. But before we bring you all that, here are our headlines, which Jayashree will tell you what happened in the week and what didn't.
Yes, so quite a bit happened this week. First up, there was a ruckus in the Bihar Assembly as the opposition protested a bill that will empower police arrest without warrants. The Mumbai Anti-Terrorism Squad has said that suspended cop Sachin Waze was involved in businessman Mansukh Hiran's murder. The NIA has taken Waze into custody and has also slapped the UAPA against him. He's been accused of planting an explosive-laden SUV near Mukesh Ambani's house. Arnab Goswami should be given 3 days' notice before arrest, the Bombay High Court has told the Mumbai police. A new double mutant variant of the coronavirus has been found in 18 states, according to the center. So this is something we may have to worry about. The government has also said that from April 1st, everyone above 45 years of age will be eligible for vaccination. State BJP President Dilip Ghosh has waded into a controversy when he said that Mamata Banerjee should wear Bermuda shorts instead of saris if she wants to show off her injured leg. Then when he received widespread criticism, he doubled down and defended his remark, saying, "We expect her to act appropriately, befitting Bengal's culture as our chief minister. A woman showing her leg in a sari is inappropriate." He made it even worse. In Tamil Nadu also, there was an instance of someone saying something terrible. Anchor Dindika Lai Leoni, who is campaigning for a DMK candidate in Coimbatore, said women's hips are like a barrel since they are drinking milk from foreign cows. I think he was trying to emphasize the need to drink milk from native cattle breeds.
Oh, he was saying that if you drink sanskari cows, then you are trim and slim. Is that what he was saying?
He said that people use milking machines for foreign cows, and if they switch on the machine, they'll drink like 40 liters of milk. I think he actually said they'll become fat like a balloon, and instead of a woman having a figure 8, she'll now look like a barrel. The full context of his remarks are much worse.
This is all making perfect sense. Okay, moving swiftly on.
He also said that women used to carry children on their hips, but now they can't because they don't have hips. So they're that fat.
What exactly does he mean by hips? I mean, is he talking about...
He means that because if the curvature of the waist and the hips is such that it forms a comfortable seat for a toddler.
Exactly.
But anyway, I don't know wow, this guy, he should be made, he should go to UP. What's he doing in your state, Jayashree? Please send it.
You can take him. We'll send him to you.
Okay.
Wow.
Moving on. So after all our discussion about Mithun Chakravarti, he's now missing from the BJP's final list of candidates for the Bengal poll. Justice N.V. Ramana is set to take over as the 48th Chief Justice of India. India has abstained from a crucial vote on Sri Lanka's rights record at the United Nations. The Delhi High Court has issued notice to the government after the Quint filed a legal challenge to the government's new digital media rules, not laws. 2 nuns and their novices were heckled and forced to get off a train in Uttar Pradesh by members of the ABVP, who suspected them of conducting religious conversion. And that is the news for the week.
And that, the nun story, Raman sir, you're saying was left out curiously by several
The Times
news.
of India. I mean, I get the physical copy in Noida. I searched twice
You didn't
because
find
they
this
have so many news. Na? In
Right.
one page they have
They have the most.
They have the most. I mean, so I had to very carefully go through maybe 3 lines somewhere.
They
So
didn't
I did
cover.
not see that story. And yesterday, I think I saw it just on NDTV, where the India Today, I think, was going gaga over Suvendu.
Acha.
Some story, some kind of travelogue with Suvendu. But otherwise, I didn't see it on the TV also.
Well, these days a lot of stories mysteriously disappear. So, thank you first of all, those of you who did share last week's nuisance, and a part of nuisance was Manisha's interview with the lady who appeared in an ad about Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, and a quote was attributed to her that she was a recipient of this Yojana and had got a home, and Manisha found her, interviewed her, and she didn't have any home. Is Yojana ke antargat.
She actually lives much of her life on a footpath.
Yeah. So because she just has this one room, and because she has a son and he has his wife, because it's a very small room, she sleeps outside that little room which is on the footpath.
And her picture was perhaps taken when she was working in one of those houses. She was a laborer there.
Right. So Amit Malviya, the IT cell or whatever, he's the head of IT for BJP because they have very accomplished people. Like they have the pick of the crop. Like
He is the
Uttarakhand
BJP's troll in chief.
chief minister. I mean, if you are to assume that the offices are given to the best and brightest of the BJP, then you're not surprised at the rest. And then you cannot surprised at all at the followers either. But without being too snide towards those who may like people like Amit Malviya and Mr. Tirath Rawat of the Uttarakhand, we'll talk about what he said as well. Who's got COVID, by the way, right now. That lady, that story was actually, I mean, we're going to be honest, it came to us, but it came to us not before it came to everybody else. It came to us after it had gone to all the big media, and no one wanted to carry it. Not a single legacy media outfit in Bengal or here wanted to carry a story that shows a woman in the Prime Minister's ad, which basically she did not get.
Basically covering a story where the government is blatantly lying.
Blatantly, exactly. Yeah, it's blatantly lying using the PM's photos.
And using a poor woman to do that.
So that gives you an idea of the level of media independence, freedom, public service, etc., etc., etc. If we still have to convince you why you should pay to keep news free, then probably I'll need to convince you that you should drink if you're dehydrated. So if instinctively that doesn't come to you, I guess I will just have to give up. So those of you who are listening to this for free and are in the position to pay, think about what your contribution towards the independence of news and indeed democracy will be if it continues to deteriorate and decay any moment. Those of you who are contributing, you guys are keeping journalism and democracy alive. So give yourselves a pat on the back. Now, Amit Malviya said that this is very normal that a stock image is used. So clearly he's more of an advertising expert than I am, although I've made ads for 10 years before. You can't use a stock image and attribute a quote to that person. And that stock image, if you've taken it, tell us, have you got it from Getty? Because Getty and all have very strict rules on where you can use it and what context you can use it. But then this is the world that anything you can say, any shit and get away
even
with.
if that lady had given permission to take her picture, to use it in the ad,
But the
it's still a
quote-
lie.
Yeah, it's the quote you cannot read.
She hasn't got the house.
The woman is not able to recollect when was this picture taken. So she says in her interview that it might have been taken when I was working in one of those projects. Okay, where I was working as a laborer, and it might have been taken at that particular time. See, she said she cannot recall who took this picture.
Yes.
I also want to add one thing that we first did a text story. After that, we tracked this woman. Basant wrote the text story.
Yes.
Basant coordinated with Manisha, and Manisha, located this woman. And we did this story. And when this story went viral, then Aaj Tak
Yeah, India
jumped
did
into
it.
the fray. Then the others also called us up to find out the address of.
Then it's easy, no?
On that note, those of you who listen to this on YouTube or you listen to Chota Hafta, you can listen to the full unedited Hafta by being a subscriber and paying to keep news free. I think what democracy means is changing, just like what secularism means is changing. But do you think there is any chance of the bill in Delhi being taken back or the challenge of the Supreme Court working out? Let's start with Jayashree. What do you think? Can you think it be reversed? Because the bill does go against the judgment of the Supreme Court, which was a constitutional bench.
No, I think, like I said last week also, I think they will challenge it, but I don't see the government reversing it. And combining that with the Bihar Special Armed Police Bill, the democratic process, I would imagine, is a great irritant to the BJP. They tolerate it because they have to keep up some semblance of a democracy. You mentioned the voice votes that were used to pass it. They used the voice vote for the farm laws as well. So it's just as a token, it is being introduced for members to critique, but in theory, it is being passed already. And with the police bill, I think, as Mehraj said, it allows special police forces to arrest without a warrant, but it also allows so much more. You're allowed to arrest a person on the basis of suspecting that they might disrupt a state government function, or you suspect that they may attempt to conceal their presence during a function with the aim to create disorder. This is such vague phrasage. You also aren't allowed to take this police force to court unless the government authorizes you to do so. The ruckus that we saw in assembly was extremely warranted. Of course, it took the form that we always see in India, where people shouting, throwing things, then people coming in, water cannons. So it was in shambles, but this is what was expected. But at the end of the day, the government still got what it wanted. It can say that it tried to do democratic process, but that the opposition disrupted it. And it got its bill passed and will now go to the legislative. So the government's pretty much won in this entire thing.
But this Delhi thing is like a perfect example of what this country has lost over the last 6-7 years. And I'm not just talking about the BJP, they have come to power, the opposition, for example. If this was the Aam Aadmi Party of 2014-15, right now they would be raising hell. They would be garrowing the parliament, the Prime Minister's office. Last time something like this, something even less severe than this happened, they camped inside the Lieutenant Governor's office, slept there. Now they're basically making statements. That is no incentive for the Modi government to do anything about it.
Combativeness is gone.
Exactly.
And I think Aam Aadmi Party has not lost its combativeness. They have become wiser. Now they know that how they should go about. They want to take away the agenda which the BJP is setting, for the rest of the country. So they are keeping that in mind. I think on several bills which are going to come, and if the LG is going to sit, you will see Aam Aadmi Party sleeping right outside the LG. So they will strategically go for it.
Just reminding everybody, you can contribute to our NL Sena project for the assembly elections. We are still about 40% short, 35-40%. So do contribute and pay to keep news free. Go to newslaundry.com and click on the subscribe button. Or better still, click on the NL Sena button. Also, we have some very cool merch. Our mugs and our water bottles, those are ways that you can also contribute to News Laundry. You can gift them to other people. So Parambir is accusing his former employer, the state of Maharashtra, of trying to get stuff out. 100 crore Vaze was being used for that. Meanwhile, some other cop has accused some other cop of something else. I think he's accused Parambir Singh, if I'm not wrong.
No.
Then some other suspended cop has accused someone else of something else. So it is apparently...
At the center of the whole thing is apparently a poor cabbie in Usmanabad, who when our colleague Pratik called up, he broke down. He said, I have absolutely no idea what they are talking about. I'm a cabbie.
So
they are saying that he is orchestrating all these transfers. He's taking money from this, giving to this guy. He says, what the hell? And if, that's the intelligence department report. Either, this guy is, like I said on the mail to Pratik, either this guy is some kind of a 007 agent who is living a double life, or they got the numbers or the phone numbers mixed up. Apparently his number was on surveillance, which means the whole intelligence department is incompetent. incident.
That means they have been eavesdropping on a cab driver.
Yeah, thinking that
in
he's some high
Osmanabad
ranking. Yeah.
while they were trying to figure out who's the mastermind behind. So this is worse than the Pink Panther.
The worst thing is, and which is really killing me, we still don't know the motive. We don't know why these things are happening. I mean, I'm talking of basically that Ambani thingy.
Attila.
Whatever Vazeh did.
Why did he do it?
Why did he do it? We don't know. I mean, that is something which is everybody is trying to fix everybody. I mean, politically.
This is precisely why I say the bureaucracy must be abolished in IPS, IAS, all of this. I mean, it's better to have a committed bureaucracy than this kind of nonsense. You
Yeah.
pretend that you are like neutral and then you do these kind of games and ruin
They
people's
are worse
lives.
than committed. They are
And
worse
this
than
guy is
committed.
accused of several murders. I mean, he killed a Muslim man back in 2003 in custody. His family is still waiting for justice.
No, but I feel like in the middle of all these cops being transferred, allegations being made, I think Devendra Fadnavis held that entire press conference where he said there's 6 GB worth of material to prove corruption in the police force and so on. In the middle of all that, the fact that that man is dead, Mansukh Hiran has been left quite far behind because we're so busy in trying to figure out who is accusing who of what. So, and like Mehraj said, at the end of the day, it's that poor cabbie sitting in Osmanabad who drives passengers to Nagpur. And I think he's named in that report as having collected 30-40 lakhs and having contacts with 29 very senior officers for whom he initiated transfers. And these are like IPS level officers. And the man is sitting and telling Prateek on the phone that he earns 8,000 rupees a month. And that's his total earnings. So in the middle of all this drama, we forget the people who are really affected. But I do want to say that I have a massive issue with this entire transfer business because I think transferring is a very useful tool in the hands of a government. It's a great way to appear like you're doing something without actually doing anything. So for example, they transferred Paramveer Singh over this Ambani car thing and now he's gone to court. So you're attempting to push out inconvenient people, bring in others, but who at the end of all this is actually fixing the problem? It's no one. We're sort of moving further and further away from that. And I agree with Mehraj that this entire colonial setup of our civil services is becoming an extreme burden on our entire country. It's incompetent, it's bureaucratic, it's corrupt. So how one would overhaul it, I don't know, but to continue the way we do is not an option.
So, you know what, I'll tell you a bit about the places we went to, and then I'll tell you like 3-4 key themes that I felt kept repeating through our travels. So for now, we've been to Howrah, Kolkata, Barrackpur, Bolpur, Bishnupur, and Jhargram. So roughly 4 districts we've covered. And one thing we noticed, the most jarring thing for me was I expected West Bengal to be a place where people talk a lot about politics and they really want to talk about what they feel, what they think. That's not the case. There are a lot of silent voters. A lot of people don't want to forget telling you who they want to vote for, but they don't even want to express whether they are angry with the current government, what their expectations from the next government is, what do they think of Mamata versus Modi. So a lot of voters we met just didn't want to give us an understanding of what they're thinking, which means that there's a lot of silent voters. And silent voters in West Bengal would, to my mind, would mean that they're not happy with TMC. Because in every little area or town or city, the TMC, the TMC booth workers, the TMC workers are really strong. And there are these local goons that operate. This is a strange place because there are cases where in a village, if you voted for a party other than TMC, you can be like thrown out of the village.
Wow, okay.
You are told that, there are very clear instructions given to you that you must vote for the TMC because you're going to be living here and we are around and see what you want to do with that knowledge. So that kind of thing is very prevalent in the places where we went. And when people said ki nahi bolna chahte, it was very clear the sense that we got. They said bhoy hai, that we are scared. So, that I think to me is very interesting, that there's a fear of speaking out because if they say something, they may get attacked by TMC or they may get some TMC worker may come to their house. And especially this is in the the Bolpur area, which is in Birbhum, where the TMC guys are really debunk. It's really funny because the BJP guys we met, I've been hanging a lot with the BJP workers here, and you feel really bad for them.
Why?
Because in 2018 Panchayat elections, the district that I went to, TMC didn't allow them to file nominations. Forget contesting.
Wow, okay.
So TMC won the whole district. Like not a single nomination was allowed to be filed. So typically what they would do, they would go to the BDO office, the block development officer's space, and 2,000, 3,000 men would just stand there. So if you're going to file in your nomination, they sort of just scare you out of it.
Right.
With the show of strength. So, these sad BJP workers were just telling us ki humko learn, छोड़ो जीतना तो छोड़ो हमें लड़ने तो दो types. So it's quite funny that way. Second thing I felt was that there's a lot of anger amongst people for the corruption in TMC, the petty corruption. Now, Raman, I was having this conversation with Raman in the morning and he said it's everywhere in India. But to me, this seemed very perversive in the sense that suppose, so the two ways in which it operates is one is that a TMC worker will tell you that, look, there's a government scheme, you want to avail it. And so you'll get 25,000 in your account for your daughter's marriage. I'll take 5,000. And you have to give 5,000. The other way it operates is then when money comes to your account directly, there are people in the bank already when you go there to, withdraw your money, saying कि cut money is a very popular thing, कि cut money दो. तो अगर मुझे घर बनाने के लिए 80,000 आया है तो they'll ask for 20,000. So there's a lot of anger in people.
Is there any indication or evidence that you find that this is institutionalized all the way to the top? Like, like for example, Delhi cops, there was that phase when they had stopped taking money. Panwala near our office had told us during that whole Jan Lokpal movement hafta had stopped. But cops take money. Now, depending on who you believe, some say that this is a thing that goes all the way, to the leadership. And they have to, everyone is given in their area a certain amount of money that they have to give. As Raman said, there are certain police stations that are auctioned. That, the Sadar Bazaar is a very popular police station that if you get that police station as an SHO, you can, make a lot of money. Or is it just people taking advantage at the local level of their uniform or of their allegiance? Or is there any evidence that it's institutionalized that goes all the way to the top, which is how they contest elections? And
given that it's so pervasive, I can't believe that the top guys don't know. And Mamta herself had said in a rally, she had urged her workers in 2019 publicly, she said that, please give back cut money. Give back the money that you've taken from the poor.
Okay, so she's clearly aware of it.
So she knows it, but of course people feel कि okay, Mamta nahi kar rahi, uske workers kare. But I mean, most people said it's TMC workers to us. And people are very scared, yeah? So we couldn't get many people on video telling this to us or told us like, don't put our face or don't name us. But very clearly people said कि TMC मांगता है, left भी मांगता था, लेकिन left के time में थोड़ा regimented था. What another issue that people have is that like 3 TMC workers at different time will come and ask you. And the second thing is that work would not get done. So okay, we've given the bribe, but many people didn't get their houses.
Right.
But women, so this is one aspect I thought that people were upset with Mamta about. Second was, I think she's pretty popular among women. That is a fact. I met many women who are very happy with the schemes that she's implemented. And also most rallies when you attend in other states, it's a very male affair. And you feel a bit weird going on to these rallies also because there's just so many men there. Here I've seen equal number of men and women. So it's very nice to see that. In terms of BJP, there is no face that BJP has, and BJP workers are going everywhere asking votes in the name of Modi. That's very clear. And one thing I noticed among every BPL family that I met, everyone got 1,500 rupees during the lockdown here in their account. Not a single person I met said they didn't get it. And that's created a lot of goodwill among people because lockdown was a hard time for them and they felt that the Modi government came through for them.
Right.
So there is a lot of goodwill for the government because of that. I think it'll be interesting to see whether this reached all states. So this was targeted in election states. I think that
would be an interesting actually study to do, that election states versus other states, an audit of this entire BPL accounts that 500 rupees a month has to be sent to. And now
there's a lot of, I didn't meet anyone who's averse to the idea of Modi per se. Huh? People do feel that maybe development hoga and, he's done good. Unnati, they say a lot. So that kind of sense is there.
But what about this? The BJP, which in my view is their primary narrative of the Hindu identity, is that a thing there? Because the Bengali identity is a big thing. I mean, I've throughout my life been bored to death by Bengalis in my life, from my school teachers to my music teacher to creative directors when I used to make ads telling me how Bengal is India and not the other way around on culture. The Bengali identity is a big thing, but is Hindu identity also a big thing, or is Durga definitely bigger than Ram and will always be?
From paths that I've gone to, and these are also areas where BJP has made strong inroads and RSS has worked for a very long time, people don't see a Hindu identity is not an antithesis to Bengali identity. So, for example, and remember, this is the partition state, which has gone through a lot of bloodshed. There is a sense among people, and then after partition, there was the Bangladesh war, and Bangladesh was formed, and refugees from Bangladesh then came here because they were ill-treated minorities. I mean, Bangladesh essentially failed most of its minorities, and a lot of Hindus came from there. So there's a lot of stories also from that time, how they were persecuted, how they came here. So there is a sense among a lot of people that partition happened, Muslims got a Bangladesh where Hindus were not allowed to really live, and they came back. So what's wrong with a West Bengal that is a homeland for Bengali Hindus? And RSS, Hindu Samati's works, RSS work here, the Jai Shri Ram is kind of subtle. In fact, I spent like 3 hours at an RSS school yesterday. I'll be writing that story soon. So the Jai Shri Ram bit is pretty subtle. Like they'll put a picture of Ram somewhere, whatever. But the big icons are Vivekanand, even Tagore, Subhash Chandra. So the big icons are Bengali. And also in West Bengal, 3 districts, Murshidabad, Malda and Uttar Dinajpur, have majority Muslim population or almost equal number of Muslims and equal number of Hindus living together. These are districts also that have seen a lot of rioting over the past few years, especially since the BJP came to power and especially around 2016. I mean, some people say that this has been the strategy of the right wing to engineer riots and polarize votes. But what has happened in these riots is that the police has been late to come to the spot to quell violence. In many cases, they've taken a day almost to come and make sure that things are back to normal, as is the case in most riots, I guess. But in this situation, what happens is that because there's an equal number of population from both sides have been aggressors with each other. So Hindus have also gone and burnt homes. Muslims will also come and, retaliate. And in such a situation, what the Hindus then feel is that when you see the local administration fail and when you see your house get burnt or whatever, so then there's this feeling that why should we need to take this in West Bengal, which is supposed to be, a natural place for Hindus. And there's also the feeling that since the administration has failed us, RSS guys or Hindu Samati guys or the VHP guys are kind of local saviors.
So to ensure that Manisha and Meghnad's car doesn't run out of fuel, a car that has been provided by a subscriber, thank you so much, do contribute to NL Sena project, and also just ensure that our wonderful Aditya and Nidhi don't run out of fuel at their end in Kerala. So go to newslaundry.com, pay to keep news free, or contribute to our NL Sena project. Now, let me just put a little context to this. I think what's clear, and no, I'm not just talking about the government, and this may also be a little unkind to people who support the BJP, but I've noticed that people who support the BJP are willing to really go to Sambit Patra levels to justify stuff, because you don't have to, right? You're not a party spokesperson. You can abandon. It's not like you're tied to that.
Even if you support, you can say, this one is just like.
So I've seen them now. If the BJP had to show some sort of, they wanted to show their chops, their democratic chops. What is happening in Myanmar is fucking insane. I mean, yesterday a 7-year-old child was killed there. And this is the 20th or the 22nd child who's been killed in Myanmar.
Yes.
The way the generals, and they are still blaming the civil society and protesters for these deaths. We are right. We border them. Yeah, there are some people in Manipur they're police personnel who said we cannot do what this government is asking us to do, but they can't leave, right? They're deserters or whatever. So they've crossed into Mizoram. And hopefully we'll be getting something from there, sir, because there's a camera crew who had gone there to shoot a documentary. So they called me up. Can we give you something?
Yes.
I said, you are documentary filmmakers. Raman is a journalist. So if it passes journalistic filters, then sure, we'll carry it.
Please.
So now that is what's happening in our backyard. Now, if you have pretensions of being a regional leader, you have to speak about something like this. The fact that there has been such a meek acknowledgement that this is happening in our backyard, because even if, and I would, put a wager on this, that if in an alternative reality where Manmohan Singh bol raha hu, he actually used to give more press conferences, then Mr. Modi were to address a press conference and said, what do you think is happening in Myanmar? It would be a very flim-flam response, because that is their model. They can see themselves doing it. And when you ask a BJP supporter,
right?
Because why do you think the BJP supporters were so reluctant to condemn Trump? Because you see, it's very hard to condemn them, and then you say, but boss, ye to same hai. So they'd always hedge. That is the basic governance ideal of the BJP, which is why, I mean, you ask them, Sri Lanka mein ye ho raha hai, wahan wo raha hai. Abhi to nahi ho raha na. Hua tha. अभी बताओ जो यहाँ हो रहा है, आपने बोला है कुछ? जयशंकर जो पटपटापट फर्राटेदार इंग्लिश और सर्राटेदार हिंदी बोलता है, पता नहीं आया शायद पास करके यही झंड करना था क्या? व्हाट अ वेस्ट ऑफ अ लाइफ. बोला है कुछ?
But that's the thing, no? How can they do that like with any bit of credibility when they have been doing, like you said, they killed 7-year-old children there, right? The Indian state has been doing the same in Kashmir, killing children, blinding them, people like without any accountability. So what moral right do they have to speak about like Myanmar without coming across as hypocrites, which they are? Overall, though, it's really a sad situation. I mean,
Yeah.
at this moment, India is really a moral catastrophe.
So thank you all so much for your good wishes. It would be great. Those of you who are consuming News Laundry for free, who I lovingly call Mufat Khors. Mufat Khors, it wouldn't hurt if you're earning and you're earning enough for 300 rupees a month to subscribe and pay to keep news free, because the deterioration in governance and the deterioration in the free independent press go hand in hand. So you can stem one by supporting the other. So if you are a minister or a bureaucrat or a cop listening to this, you can do your job better. If you're none of those, you can subscribe to News Laundry. All of you listening in, the Chota Hafta, do subscribe so you can listen to the entire Hafta. We will see you again next week with the Hafta. Till then, subscribe, pay to keep news free, because when the public pays, the public is served. When advertisers pay, advertisers are served. Thank you. Goodbye.
All the News Laundry podcasts are available on Stitcher, iTunes, and any other podcast platform.
Please subscribe to News Laundry. Help us keep news independent. To catch all our podcasts on news, pop culture, current affairs, and sport, visit newslaundry.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. सुन लिया अफ्रीका, मुफत खोरों? Not to brag or anything, but News Laundry Hafta features in the top 50 in the world on SoundCloud in the news and politics category for podcasts. So do subscribe and see what you're missing, because when the public pays, the public is served. When advertisers pay, advertisers are served. Subscribe, help keep news independent and free. All News Laundry podcasts are available on iTunes and Stitcher and any other podcast platform.